Hello everyone, this is Bbeltdan and welcome back to constructing the Enterprise J in Blender. As you may have seen, I've done a little bit of work off camera, so before we go ahead and start doing some more modeling, just want to kind of show you some of the stuff that I've done. Some of the stuff is minor things, a few little tweaks here and there along the primary hull, but I've actually started working on these additional pylon pieces. I have no idea what they are for. You can see them here inside the picture. Let me lower down this opacity so you can see. Yeah, see, it seems like that the pylons, there's multiple layers on them. So there's, you have a layer here, then you got this little blue strip that yeah, you can definitely see it right there. Yeah, so we got that little blue strip, which I'm going to guess is, I don't know if it'd be considered a part of the warp engines, but possibly a part of a whole nother technology in general. And then you have the main part of the pylons. So I've worked on that. I shaped the main part of the pylons just a little bit, but this is still all temporary. You can see that I've actually started molding in the new part of the pylons, this top portion here, into the section of the primary hull that I have. Um, I know there's a little bit of an error right there, but I know what it is, and I'll fix it here. I'm decided to kind of do it on camera because I've seen some people mess around with Blender and they get the same type of, oh, what is it? Oh, darn it, there's a name for it, but I can't think of what they're called. Um, for lack of a better term, anomalies. So just kind of show what causes those type of anomalies when you're using subsurf. So, but yeah, started working on that. Haven't started adding a few additional little details along this strip of the primary hull. These things right here, I think you can see it. Yes, started adding those in. But one thing that I wanted to go ahead and show you is this. I don't know if y'all can see it. There's something right there. I got it selected. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Zoom in a little bit more. And, oops, there we go. That's it right there. Now, what is the deal with that one little block? That block I've put inside the scene to represent the natural height of a standard 6 foot tall person. So it's roughly about 1.8, meters, almost 2 meters tall. So this would give me a sense of scale of exactly how big this ship would be. And just for reference on how big I decided to make the ship is about 1,600 meters. How did I come to that conclusion? Well, I do know that the original design of the ship, the designer, he originally thought that, or decided this would be 3 miles long. I thought that might be just a bit too big, so I shrunk it down to about almost half the length. And I didn't just pull the number out of the air. How I decided to get that was simply I took, starting with the NX class and its length, I went ahead and went all the way to the Enterprise E and took its length and figured out the span of years between that point to that point, and then figured out the span of how much the ships have grown between that time, divided it. So roughly what I got was for every year there was about, the standard starship grew about 2.2 meters or 2.1 meters per year. So the NX class was 225 meters in 2151. Then you have the motion picture Enterprise, which was 305 meters and around 2285. The Enterprise D was 642 meters in 2363, and the Enterprise E is 685 in 2372. So I figured that if the Federation was constantly growing at the same rate, or their ships were growing constantly at the same rate from year by year for whatever reason, to either accommodate the long distance travels or more crews or what have you, then more than likely that's by the 29th century. Whoops, why did that not? Oh, there we go. There we go. By the 29th century, the average starship should roughly be at about, or largest starship at the time should be about 1,600 meters. So I think that's a relatively more decent size. 3 meters is just a little bit too big. Maybe if it was in the so-called Abrams verse, then 3 miles would probably be beneficial, but this is not in the Abrams verse. Ooh, it looks like this might become a little bit more curved as it gets to here. I'm gonna have to fix that. Whoops. But we're not in the Abrams verse. And for those of you who don't know what the Abrams verse is, that is the universe that was done by J.J. Abrams. Let me go ahead and delete those right now. Yeah. Let me try something here. Because if you look at his starships, I mean, he had according to J.J. Abrams, the rebooted Enterprise it's about 700 meters long. That just seems just a little bit too long. So I didn't want to fall into that type of trap. So, darn it. I didn't want to fall into that trap, so I went ahead and settled for a more realistic diameter. So I'm happy with it, but let's go back to this. So this little spot right there is how big a man would be in relation to this entire starship. There we go. So really quite small. Now the reason why I did this was a tip that I picked up along some forums, 3D modeling forums that I've frequented back in the past, where you put it in that way you can make sure that everything's in relation to itself. So this would really come in handy when I start putting in the windows, because then I can figure out exactly how big I want the windows. Do I want them to be about the rough size of a human? I can plant this guy or this little thing anywhere within the scene and figure, okay, well, let's see if I can move. He's there somewhere. Yes, no, maybe. Wow, he's small. Oh, there he is. So I can kind of plan him around in this scene and figure, okay, how big is roughly that window right there? So going off of that, this is another reason why I decided not to do the 3 miles, because with this guy being only 6 feet tall, those windows are going to be very big. I mean, they might be skylights, but and they could possibly be big, but that's pretty big. And if you move, let me do this. For some reason I'm lagging for some reason. If I move him out here, why is this lagging like this? Well, you get the picture. I mean, look how much bigger those windows are as relation to the rest of the windows. So that's going to help me try to scale everything down. So I'm going to scale everything to this little guy right here. Let me put him right back roughly there. So, okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit while I continue working on this. And then I'm going to cut out for a little bit and do some work. Let's see, let's select that edge loop. But yeah, oh, I figured out what that is. I still can't think what the technical name is, but if you look on the movie airships, they always had this little dome in the back. That was for the impulse engines. It was like impulse engine housing. This was always on top of where the impulse engines resided. So with that being there, I don't know if that might supposed to have the same effect of an impulse engine, but I've decided in past ships I put the shuttle bay back there. But with something like this, I'm going to go ahead and put the impulse engines in the back, because looking at the saucer section, I don't see any place where there could be impulse engines on here. So we're going to put those back there. So for lack of a better term at this point, that is going to be a part of the impulse housing, similar to the motion picture ships. So we're going to be working on that. But yeah, today though, what I have decided ultimately to do is from this point on, I'm going to just leave most of this ship the way it is right now, and I'm going to focus on the saucer section, trying to get these windows or trying to get the details. That way it's one part of the ship that I don't have to worry about. So I don't know if y'all agree, disagree. Whoops. But that's what I went ahead and decided to do. Is now the thing is I'm having difficulty trying to make a decision on what do I want to do with the windows. I mean, a lot of these details I can go ahead. Whoops, there we go. A lot of these details I can go ahead and I'm still gonna have to do some more. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, that looks like that. Well, it doesn't quite. Well, I'll worry about that later. So I don't know exactly what to do with something like with the windows. I mean, I have two choices here, and I'm going to do one of the choices real quick off screen and come back and show you what it kind of looks like. One, I can model every single window in. Problem is, as you can probably guess, there's a lot of windows, so modeling every single one of these windows in, it's going to add a lot of polys into this ship, which I don't have a problem going high poly. It's just I'm just kind of just worried of exactly how many polys, you know, is this going to be. I don't want it to be overburdensome, especially when it comes time to texturing the ship. The other option is to just go ahead and texture. Now, what I'm kind of toying with right about now is that kind of do a bit of a hybrid where, oops, what I was thinking about doing is just have it to where if the lights are on, I'll go ahead and model that in. That way I can kind of put like a little bit of a room back there, texture it to where it looks like there's glass and there's a room actually inside. So if you get real close to the ship, you can really see it. And then if it's dark, if the lights are turned off in the windows, then I will just go ahead. Oh, there it goes. I don't know, for some reason I am lagging like crazy. There we go. That's good enough. Yeah, but if it's off, I'll just texture that in. So I haven't really quite decided, so hopefully I'll figure that out. But what I'm going to do off screen here in just a few minutes is I'm going to go ahead and model some windows in, just to kind of show you exactly how much of a high poly count I'm going to be getting if I was to do it that particular way. So, oh yeah, before we go ahead and leave, let me show you what causes this little anomaly right here. For those of y'all that are working in Blender, I don't know if this is the same on other 3D programs, but you get this and you try reversing the normals, recalculating to the outside, still doesn't work. What happens is that, I don't know if you can see it, but between here and, oops, no, not there. Okay, see, I have this coming out here. But if you can see, because of this new layer, there is this edge right here that is no longer needed because it's hidden. But the way that the subsurf modifier works is that it sees that as long as that point and that point is connected, they need to be kind of sucked in and smoothed in. So that creates that anomaly. So all you should have to do is select it, or wait, where is it? Is it that one? Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, it's not that one. It's this one right here, because that one is now technically hidden. So all you got to do is just select that. That's going to be hidden because it's going to be boxed in, and delete it. Oops, did I do the wrong one? Ah, darn it. Hold up. Watch it make a liar out of me. Ah, that wasn't it either. Okay, hold up. I do know there is one of these. No, that's not it. Is that it? Ah, there it is. Okay, I think. You know, I did this earlier. Okay, no, that's along there. I'll tell you what, let's do this. When in doubt, let's temporarily disable that modifier. So we are going to nope, that's mirror. Never mind. Ah, there we go. There we go. All right. Oops. Okay, somewhere in here there is a... Did I delete it already? Oh, wait. That's it right there. That's the one. See, that one we don't need anymore. So if I was to delete that, I think that's the one I deleted earlier. Oops. For some reason I'm still getting lag. I thought this only happened in video games. Ah, okay. There's it. Now, there still looks a little bit wonky because I need to go into edit mode and smooth all those faces. Yes, no, maybe. Come on. There we go. I have no idea why this is. And there we go. Still needs a little bit of cleaning up, but as you can see, it gets rid of some of those anomalies. So yeah, just check your edges and make sure that there's not an edge that is connected that's not supposed to be. If it's hidden, just go ahead and delete it. I'm going to go ahead and temporarily cut out. I'm going to have to reboot my computer and probably restart the capture program to figure out why this thing is acting the way it is. When I come back, said what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and have just the saucer section up with a window or two modeled in. So once again, so you can see of exactly what it's going to look like once those windows are modeled in, and we can try to hopefully with me doing that I'll figure out which way I want to go. So I'll be right back.